order a thigh cuff, we need a total of 3 circumference measurements and 1 length measurement. It is important that we now orient ourselves to the position of the electrodes. This means that we start from the electrodes and determine the upper end and the lower end of the cuff. The first circumference measurement also defines the upper end of the cuff. This means that we now look for the electrodes that sits closest to the torso, which in this case is the ventral electrode, and from there we measure the circumference at least 2 cm above it on the thigh. This is our first circumference measurement. We make a small marking there because this will be important later for the length measurement. The second circumference measurement then defines the lower end of the cuff. Here we do exactly the same again. We check which electrode sits the lowest, which in this case is the dorsal electrode, and from there we again keep a distance of at least 2 cm to measure the circumference. And again I make a marking here so that I can measure the length at the end. The third circumference measurement is then the middle of the cuff. This means that I look for approximately the midpoint between the 2 markings and measure the circumference there. Finally, I take the length measurement, which then describes the total length of the cuff by measuring from the upper marking to the lower marking.